Thanks, Brian. You mentioned now, and the president mentioned in his remarks earlier, the administration was going to look to efforts to address some of those supply bottlenecks. Industry experts say, semiconductors, that's a multi-year process to fix that. So what is the administration going to do to fix some of those bottlenecks that are raising prices right now?
Yeah. It's a great question. So first of all, I would say this is an issue that the president has been focused on from the campaign and early on upon taking office. That one of the things that the pandemic has exposed is the degree of vulnerability in supply chains and the need to have a deliberate strategy to try to build resilience in our supply chains. So that's why the president actually on February 25th signed an executive order tasking an all-of-government approach to try to look at supply chain challenges across a set of 4 critical areas, one of them being semiconductors, but also to launch a longer-term effort to look at supply chain vulnerabilities and opportunities across sectors of the economy. So that executive order had a 100-day time frame associated with it, which is coming due at the end of this week. So you can expect to hear more from us on this topic early next week. But in short, what I would say is, look, on a lot of these issues, there is no immediate short-term, magic bullet fix. We have been at this issue of semiconductors now for some time. We've been spending an enormous amount of time with industry participants up and down the semiconductor supply chain. We've identified some very concrete solutions that we need to take and thinking about a long-term strategy to actually build resilience so that we're not left vulnerable the way that we have been to supply chain challenges in the future. Some of that is working on bipartisan legislation to actually fund a dedicated strategy to build out a domestic semiconductor industry in the United States. We're making a lot of progress on that front and are optimistic there. The other thing that we will be looking at is some areas where we have seen over the course of the last 100 days bottlenecks emerge that are more short-term in nature, that may not connect to a longer-term geostrategic or strategic supply chain issue, but are blockages in part because we're seeing demand come back in some areas faster than people anticipated. So whether that's in housing and construction materials or in transportation and logistics, those are areas where, building on the all-of-government approach that we have in place, we're going to intend to really zero in on, are there pragmatic issues that we can help facilitate. And some of that is bringing the right industry actors around the table to really understand where those bottlenecks are and whether there are ways to unstick them. At the end of the day, a lot of that issues are transitory, associated with turning an economy back on and supply and demand mismatches that the market will work through. But we want to be doing everything that we can to try to help facilitate practical solutions where they exist. So we'll have a lot more to say about the specifics of that, but I think that hopefully gives you the context.